starting almost 2 minutes late. So, go.
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware. My name is Helen Foss, and I'm delighted to welcome you in my role as worship associate today. Welcome to you all, no matter the hue of your skin or the origin of your ethnicity. Welcome whomever you love and wherever you are on your spiritual journey. You are welcome here. So we've had another shift in plans given the explosion of COVID cases in our area and the extent of our respective holiday travels and the range of contacts. Accordingly, our First Unitarian COVID-19 Response Task Force, the executive team, and the program staff have decided that our worship services will be only online, during the month of January. Thus today, we welcome only those of you receiving this streaming service from our empty sanctuary. Together, you have 2 worship associates for your worship leaders, Jan, Shay, and me. And we are continuing a tradition introduced to us by a number of years ago by Reverend Roberto Finkelstein, using this moment on the cusp of the new year to share a Coffin and Cradle ritual. It became a tradition that many of us appreciated and welcomed each year, a time to reflect on what we would like to let go from our lives at the end of the year, perhaps where we need some healing, and a time to look forward to new starts in the new year, perhaps a springboard for a new beginning, perhaps a way to make a new start. Now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
call to worship this morning, I'm very excited to bring you a brand new poem from National Youth Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman. So brand new that it was just released Wednesday. Ms. Gorman said she wrote the poem because she wanted to write a lyric to honor the hardships, hurt, hope, and healing of 2021, while also hearkening the potential of 2022. The poem is entitled New Day's Lyric. May this be the day we come together. Mourning we come to mend, withered we come to weather. Torn we come to tend, battered we come to better. Tethered by this year of yearning, we are learning that though we weren't ready for this, we have been readied by it. We steadily vow that no matter how we are weighed down, we must always pave a way forward. This hope is our door, our portal. Even if we never get back to normal, someday we can venture beyond it to leave the known and take the first steps. So let us not return to what was normal, but reach toward what is next. What was cursed we will cure. What was plagued we will prove pure. Where we tend to argue, we will try to agree. Those fortunes we forswore, now the future we foresee. Where we weren't aware, we're now awake. Those moments we missed are now the moments we make. The moments we meet and our hearts, once altogether beaten, now altogether beat. Come, look up with kindness yet, for even solace can be sourced from sorrow. We remember not just for the sake of yesterday, but to take on tomorrow. We heed this old spirit in a new day's lyric. In our hearts we hear it. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne. Be bold, sang time this year. Be bold, sang time. For when you honor yesterday, tomorrow ye will find. Know what we fought need not be forgotten, nor for none. It defines us, binds us as one. Come over, join this day just begun. For wherever we come together, we will forever overcome.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join me by lighting it. Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets from the past, our fears about the future, and our worries about today. May it be a light for us to use as a path of joy and peace. Please now join in with Ann Turner and sing our hymn at home, For All That Is Our Life.
We are
Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
This morning, we gather to reenact a ritual originally written by Reverend Barbara Child, much adopted and adapted over the years. The ritual gives us a way to introduce spiritual depth to the celebration of the new year, an antidote to silly hats, noisemakers, and too much to drink. The Coffin and Cradle is appropriate for the new year in that it is an opportunity to begin anew, the true invitation of the turning of the year. We need to know that the new year will come. We need to know that the Coffin and Cradle will appear and invite us, coax us, even compel us to do some of the ongoing work that needs doing in order for us to maintain our sense of spiritual health, wholeness, shalom.
Rituals. Our rituals emerge out of our needs, like the need to let go of old hurts and resentments that have become burdens that weigh us down, to let go of guilt and regret for things we did or said, or things that went unsaid or undone. There is no magic to this. It's part of a process. If we are in need of forgiveness, we still need to ask it and to make amends. But once that is done, we also need a way to acknowledge that the work has been done and that lingering regret is not healthy. If we've been hurt by somebody else, and we do not pretend that in an instant it is okay, we still need to work through the pain, protect ourselves from further damage, and establish firm boundaries for safety. But once that is done, we need a way to acknowledge that the work has been done and that lingering resentment is not healthy. Here is Jan Shay now reading Mary Oliver's take on loss in her poem, In the Blackwater Woods.
Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go.
Here now is your invitation to let it go. As we seek together to cross each other in our own way, the river of loss whose other side is salvation, let us support each other as we come present to this symbol of loss, the coffin. Let the coffin be present to us, and let us be present to whatever we might want to bury in it. Perhaps you have a box or a simple bowl at home that can represent this coffin. Some of you may have gathered things that we had invited you to bring, things to put in it. Or you can write on a piece of paper which you'd like to let go. If you wish, and it's something you want to share, in a few minutes we will also invite you to write in the chat what you'd like to get rid of. Take a moment now to contemplate what you wish to put in the coffin, remembering this is a chance to let go of the past, to dismantle sorrow, while keeping the best of what was. This is a chance to cast off old skins, to move out of a place where you have been stuck, to shed a dream that was not destined to come true, to drop a souvenir that's been too heavy to keep carrying, to break a tie that binds too tightly, to acknowledge an ending that has already happened. It's an opportunity to let go. Letting go is not always easy. In fact, it's often quite painful, but in the long-term fruit is a lighter, healthier way of being in the world. We begin the process of letting go with silence. Now I invite you to put your item or your slip of paper into your bowl or box that represents the coffin. That is what you would want to bury. You're also welcome to write your items in the chat, should you wish. May we leave these things that we are ready to cast off behind. Let go of the past, keeping the best of what was.
Join together now in a time of prayerful meditation. As we enter the stillness within us and among us, may we welcome this pause. Indeed, may this pause between what has been and what will be appear to us as a sacred pause. In this sacred pause, may we imagine what it would be like to truly let go of that which will no longer serve us. In this sacred pause, may we truly prepare ourselves to forthrightly declare possibilities for moving forward. As we breathe out, may we have the experience of letting go, that which stands in the way of life that wants to emerge within us. As we breathe in, may we have the experience of letting in that which will nurture us, sustain us, and empower us for this new year. As we breathe out, we let go of the old. As we breathe in, we let the new come. As we breathe out, we let go. As we breathe in, we let in. As we breathe out, we let go. Now, as we move toward our shared silence, imagine those in your life and in our larger world who need our care, who desire more compassion and who seek more justice. Following the shared silence, there will be an opportunity for you to name those names or situations out loud at home, and if you wish, to write them in the chat. Let us move now toward our shared silence. May all whose names were spoken and those unspoken find peace and healing this day. We are approaching the feast of the Epiphany, Three Kings Day. The word Epiphany means manifestation. Specifically, it means manifestation of divine being. When the three Zoroastrian astrologers set off on their journey in pursuit of the star, they did not know what they would find. They knew only that it was important to seek it. But when they arrived at the stable, the story tells us, it became obvious to them, it was made manifest, that what they had found was concrete evidence of God's intention. Artists over the centuries have depicted this experience as one of serene awe. The stable is a beautiful and peaceful place. The baby sleeps undisturbed as the parents sit by and gaze in love and wonder. The kings offer their unlikely gifts. then turn and begin their long journey home, touched and grateful. But that is not a likely way for anybody to receive a real epiphany. The point, after all, of an epiphany is to shake things up, to turn your world upside down. Why else would the divine bother to make itself manifest?
When UU minister Reverend Barbara Child created this New Year's ritual, it included T.S. Eliot's Journey of the Magi. The poem was first published in 1927 in a series of pamphlets related to Christmas. The Feast of Epiphany that Jan just described will be celebrated this year, next Thursday, ending the Christmas season. Interestingly, the poem was written shortly after T.S. Eliot, born into a very strict Unitarian family, had converted to the Anglican faith. It's an allegorical, dramatic monologue that is voiced by one of the Magi, one of the three kings who visited the infant Jesus. It's also generally considered to be a deeply personal poem, sharing Eliot's view that spiritual transformation is not a comfort, but an ongoing process, an arduous journey, seemingly without end. This Magi's view on the birth of Jesus and the shift from the old ways to Christianity is complex and ambivalent. Indeed, there was much shaking things up and turning the world upside down. T.S. Eliot describes that experience in his poem, The Journey of the Magi, which I'm reading now. A cold coming we had of it, he wrote. Just the worst time of the year for a journey, and such a long journey. The ways were deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter, and the camels galled, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes and the terraces, the silken girls bringing sherbet. Then the camelmen cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out and the lack of shelters, and the cities hostile, and the towns unfriendly, and the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end, we preferred to travel at night, all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices singing in our ears, saying that this was all folly. Then at dawn, we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a watermill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on the low sky, and an old white horse galloping away in the meadow. We came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at an open door dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information, and so we continued, and arrived at evening, not a moment too soon, finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this was a long time ago, I remember, and I would do it again. But set down, this. Were we led all that way for birth or death? There was a birth, certainly. We had evidence, and no doubt I had seen birth and death, but had thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We return to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease here in the old dispensation, with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death.
Birth is hard, as those of us who have participated in such an event can attest. But we can also attest to the profound joy and the profound changes that come with the process. So let us now turn our attention to the cradle, symbol of birth. Let the cradle be present to us, and let us be present to whatever we would give birth to this year, especially in ourselves. We had invited you to gather objects representing this to place in the cradle. You can put your object in what represents your cradle at home, or you can write what you would like to give birth to on a piece of paper, or if you prefer, in the chat. I invite you to take a moment now to reflect on what you would give birth to, remembering that this is a chance to welcome the future, to start the process of manifesting your hopes, to begin to realize the potential with which you were born, a chance to move toward growth, to let your energies run like a stream, to find where the channels of your life are leading, to strengthen the spirit that urges you forward, to fill yourself with courage for whatever will require courage in you, to seek the light of a new day, to stretch into tomorrow, to invite something new to begin in you. And remembering that the process of giving birth is also a painful process, but the long-term fruit is a lighter, healthier way of being in the world. We begin the process of birthing with silence. Now I invite you to put into the cradle your symbol for what you would give birth to. Again, remain in silence and enjoy the music as you hold your object or write something at home. May these things we are ready to give birth to move us forward, filling us with the light of a new day and the courage to seize the future. And now feel free to join in singing if the Spirit moves you as we listen to O Life That Maketh All Things New.
O life that maketh all things new, the blooming earth, our thoughts within, our pilgrim feet wet with thy dew, in gladness hither turn again. From hand to hand the greeting flows, from eye to eye the signals run, from heart to heart the bright hope glows, the seekers of the light are one. One in the freedom of the truth, one in the joy of paths untrod, one in the soul's perennial youth, one in the larger thought of God. The freer step, the fuller breath, the wider horizon's grander view, the sense of life that has no death, the life that maketh all things new.
This morning's stewardship moment on our first Sunday of our new year gives us a chance for a fresh start at thinking about what our church means to us. Yes, of course, it's the time for us to be acting on our ways that we financially support the work of this church, but it's also the time to reflect on how much this church community has meant to us and how it is there for us as we move forward into the new year. Looking back just slightly, I'm always reminded at Christmas time of our child dedication of our daughter Lauren, now 52 years ago, here in this sanctuary under the Christmas tree. And then, of course, I think of all the experiences that she and her brother had growing up in this church and the values they have embraced. They are long since launched and today are a part of their own UU congregations. Robert and I give now to First Unitarian to help provide similar experiences to be available for young families, paying it forward and helping to keep the lights on and the program supported now as well. Here is your chance to step up with your resources. There are 3 ways listed on the screen that you can use for your contribution: a check in the mail to the address listed, log onto the church website, or use the new smartphone app to do your part. Whatever you're able to give to support our work will be gratefully received. Please join me now at home in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
1st of January is another day dawning, the sun rising as the sun always rising, the earth moving in its rhythms, with or without our calendars, to name a certain day as a day of new beginnings, separating the old from the new. So it is. Everything is the same, bound into a history as we ourselves are bound. Yet also we stand at a threshold, the new year, something truly new, still unformed, leaving a stunning power in our hands. What shall we do with this great gift of time this year? Let us begin by remembering that whatever justice and wholeness might bloom in our world this year, we are the hearts and minds, the hands and feet, the embodiment of all the best visions of our people. The new year can be new ground for the seeds of our dreams. Let us take the step forward onto new ground, planting our dreams well, faithfully, and in joy.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and